Lilly confronts Marcus Hale. Lilly didn't tell Ronan she was going. She walked into Marcus Hale's office with fire in her veins. He looked up, mildly surprised. "Ms. Hart, you need to stop," she said. "Whatever you're doing to Ronan, it ends now." Marcus smirked. "I'm not doing anything." "You're lying." He stood circling her like a shark. "Ronan is emotional, reckless. He needs guidance." "He needs support," Lilly said, "not sabotage." Marcus's eyes hardened. "You think you know him?" "I do." "You think you'll stay?" "I will." He leaned in. "You'll leave." "They always do." Lilly didn't flinch. "I'm not them." Marcus studied her, and for the first time, something like uncertainty flickered in his eyes. "You're bold," he said, "but boldness won't save him." "No," Lilly said, "but love will." She walked out before he could respond, and Marcus Hale realized he had underestimated her. The ocean did not care that everything had fallen apart. It moved the same way it always had, waves rolling in, pulling back, steady and indifferent. The sky stretched endlessly above it, painted in soft gold and fading blue. Ronan sat in the sand, elbows resting on his knees, hands hanging loose like he didn't have the strength to hold anything anymore. For the first time in years, he had nothing left to fight with. The deal was gone. The expansion had collapsed. The investor hadn't just pulled out, he'd buried the project on the way out, taking suppliers and leverage with him. And behind it all, Marcus, pulling strings, quietly, deliberately. Ronan let out a hollow breath. "I failed." Lilly heard him before she saw him. She approached slowly, her steps soft against the sand, giving him space, but not distance. "No," she said calmly as she reached him. "You were betrayed." He shook his head, eyes fixed on the horizon. "Same thing." She didn't argue immediately. Instead, she sat beside him, close enough that their shoulders nearly touched. "Ronan," she said gently, "you built something real. Someone else trying to tear it down doesn't erase that." "It does if it works," he muttered. The bitterness in his voice cut deep. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The waves filled the silence. "You're allowed to break," she said finally. He let out a dry, humorless laugh. "Not me. Not ever." She turned toward him fully now, studying his face. The exhaustion, the anger, the quiet kind of fear he didn't know how to hide anymore. "You've been strong your entire life," she said softly. "That doesn't mean you have to be unbreakable." He didn't respond, because part of him didn't know how. Slowly, she reached up, her fingers brushing against his cheek, grounding him. "Look at me," she whispered. He hesitated, then did. And what she saw, it wasn't just stress. It was grief. Grief for something he built. Grief for something taken from him. Grief for a version of himself that believed he could do it all alone. "I don't know how to rebuild," he admitted quietly. The words felt heavier than anything else he'd said. She didn't rush to answer. It didn't offer comfort that sounded empty. Instead, her gaze sharpened slightly, not colder, but more focused, more certain. "You don't have to know," she said. "You just have to start." He let out a slow breath, leaning forward slightly, like even sitting upright was an effort. "How?" he asked, and this time, there was something different in his voice. Not defeat, a question, an opening. Lily's mind had already been moving. Quietly, carefully. From that moment, everything fell apart. Because while Ronan saw the collapse, she saw patterns, loose ends, and one very serious mistake. She reached into her bag, pulling out her phone. "There's something I didn't show you yet," she said. Ronan frowned slightly. "What?" She turned the screen toward him. The video, grainy and unsteady, but it's clear enough. Marcus and the investor, a conversation they never thought anyone would have. "Delay the shipment," Marcus's voice said through the speaker. "If the timeline collapses, the whole deal falls apart. He won't recover from that." The investor laughed quietly. "And you're sure this doesn't come back to you?" Marcus's response was cold. "It never does." The video ended. Silence. Ronan stared at the screen, his entire body going still. "What is this?" he asked, his voice low. Proof, Lilly said. His head snapped toward her. Proof of what? Her expression didn't waver. Interference, manipulation, intent to sabotage a business deal. He blinked, trying to process. You're saying, I'm saying, she cut in calmly. Your employee and your father didn't just show up to check on you. He orchestrated the collapse. The words settled heavily between them. Ronan's jaw tightened, anger flickering beneath the exhaustion. I knew it, he muttered. I knew this wasn't just bad luck. Lilly nodded slightly. It wasn't. He looked back at the phone. And this is enough? Her eyes sharpened. Not by itself, she admitted. But it's a start. He studied her now, really studied her. And something shifted. Because this wasn't just Lilly anymore. This was Lilly, the lawyer. Focused, strategic, unshaken. What do we do? He asked. And there it was. Trust. She didn't hesitate. We use it, she said. Carefully. He leaned closer, listening now. First, she continued, we secure it. Backups, multiple copies. This doesn't disappear. Okay. Then, she went on, we cross-reference it with your contracts. If we can prove the investor breached terms under outside influence, we can challenge the withdrawal. Ronan's brow furrowed. Even if they already pulled out? Especially then, she said, because intent matters. And this shows intent. He exhaled slowly, the weight shifting slightly. Marcus thinks he's untouchable, she added, that everything he does stays clean. A small, determined edge slipped into her voice. He's wrong. Ronan stared at her. And for the first time since everything fell apart, he didn't feel helpless. He felt something else. Hope, dangerous, fragile, but real. You really think we can fight this? He asked. She met his gaze without hesitation. I don't fight unless I think I can win, she said. The certainty in her voice grounded him more than anything else had. He let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. Then slowly, he leaned into her. She wrapped her arms around him, holding him steady, as the waves continued their endless rhythm beside them. For the first time, he didn't resist vulnerability, didn't push it away. He let it exist, and in that space, something new began, not just rebuilding, but fighting back, together.